How Elon Musk plans to merge human brains with computers. There's something about being part human, part machine that seems really intriguing, isn't there? Well, we never thought it would be possible. One of the most outstanding entrepreneurs, Elon Musk, has set out to make it a reality. Yes, there's a possibility of you becoming a cyborg. We know that you're wondering how he's going to pull it off, but don't worry, because we've got you covered. This video says it all, so stay tuned to find out how Elon Musk plans to merge the human brain with computers. Elon Musk is indeed a man with plans and aspirations. First, there was SpaceX. Then there was Tesla. Now there's NEURALINK, the company behind the cyborg project. To hear Musk tell it, NEURALINK's hardware is either a state-of-the-art tool for understanding the brain, a clinical advancement for people with neurological disorders, or the next step in human evolution. At a 2019 presentation at the California Academy of Sciences, hastily announced via Twitter and beginning a half-hour late, Musk presented the first product from his company NEURALINK. It's a tiny computer chip attached to ultrafine electrode-studded wires, stitched into living brains by a clever robot. And depending on which part of the 2-hour presentation you caught, it's either a state-of-the-art tool for understanding the human brain, a clinical advancement for people with neurological disorders, or the next step in human evolution. The chip itself is custom-built to receive and process the electrical action potentials, or spikes, that signal activity in the interconnected neurons that make up the brain. The wires embed into the brain tissue and receive those spikes, and the robotic sewing machine places those wires with enviable precision. A neural lace, straight out of science fiction, that dodges the delicate blood vessels spreading across the brain surface like ivy. If NEURALINK's technologies work as Musk and his team intend, they'll be able to pick up signals from across a person's brain, first from the motor cortex that controls movement, but eventually throughout your think meat, and turn them into machine-readable code that the computer can understand. It might use them to control a computer or a prosthesis, to someday even feed information back to help the blind see, or to create entire virtual matrices inside your mind. All of this will occur, I think, quite slowly, Musk said from the stage. It's not as if NEURALINK will suddenly have this incredible neural lace and take over people's brains. It will take a long time. But after tests and FDA approval and more advances, this tech could be the very thing that lets people commune with the ultra-smart artificial intelligence Musk is convinced is on its way. Even in a benign AI scenario, we will be left behind, he said. With a high-bandwidth brain-machine interface, we can actually go along for the ride. We can have the option of merging with AI. This is all pretty on-brand for Musk. As a guy who runs the electric car company Tesla and the rocket company SpaceX, Musk has gotten very good at, and in trouble even, for taking impressive technological achievements and, well, maybe not hyping them, but let's say skipping all the way to the end of their speculative narrative arcs. It's not enough to have super slick electric cars. No, they're going to have to drive themselves. That rocket isn't going to just ferry cargo to a space station. No, it's going to take people to Mars. How exciting! To make the merge, your brain will get another layer. Right now, you have two primary layers to your brain. The limbic system, which controls things like your emotions, long-term memory and behavior, and the cortex, which handles your complex thoughts, reasoning, and long-term planning. Musk wants his brain interface to be a third layer that'll complement the other two. The weirdest thing about that goal may be that he thinks that we already have this third layer. We just don't have the best interface for it. We already have a digital tertiary layer in a sense, in that you have your computer, your phone, or your applications. The thing that people, I think, don't appreciate right now is that they are already a cyborg. If you leave your phone behind, it's like missing limb syndrome. I think people, they're already kind of merged with their phone and their laptop and their applications and everything. The goal of NEURALINK then is to eliminate the middleman and putting that power we currently have at our fingertips directly into our brains. Instead of one person using their phone to transmit a thought to another person, dinner at 8, the thought would just go from one brain to the other directly. Thankfully, we'll be able to control this completely. Musk tells Urban, people won't be able to read your thoughts. You would have to will it. If you don't will it, it doesn't happen. Just like if you don't will your mouth to talk, it doesn't talk. Of course, such innovation calls for some intelligent brains, and that's why Musk is working with some brilliant minds. Musk met with more than 1,000 people before deciding on 8 who would help him shape the future of humanity at NEURALINK. He claims assembling the right team was a challenge in and of itself, as he needed to find the people capable of working in a cross-disciplinary field that includes everything from brain surgery to microscopic electronics. The crew he landed on is a veritable supergroup of smarties. They have backgrounds from MIT, Duke, and IBM, and their bios include phrases like neural dust, cortical physiology, and human psychophysics. They're engineers, neurosurgeons, and chip designers, and if anyone can bring Elon Musk's vision to life, it's them. Still, the timeline for AI adoption is hazy. NEURALINK won't come out of the gate with a BMI that transforms you into a walking computer. The first product the company will focus on releasing will be much more targeted. We're aiming to bring something to market that will help with certain severe brain injuries, stroke, cancer lesion, congenital, in about 4 years, said Musk. The same way SpaceX was able to fund its research on reusable rockets by making deliveries to the ISS, or Tesla was able to use profits from its earlier car sales to fund battery research, these earliest BMIs to treat diseases or the disabled will keep Neuralink afloat, as it works on its truly mind-bending technologies. As for when those technologies, the ones that allow healthy people to channel their inner telepaths, will arrive, Musk's somewhat optimistic timeline comes with several contingencies. I think we're about 8 to 10 years away from this being usable by people with no disability. It's important to note that this depends heavily on regulatory approval timing and how well our devices work on people with disabilities. The company is facing several hurdles already. Elon Musk might make innovation look easy, but even going to Mars seems relatively straightforward compared to his plans for his latest company. First, there are engineering hurdles to overcome. The company has to deal with the problems of biocompatibility, wirelessness, power, and the big one, bandwidth. To date, we've never put more than roughly 200 electrodes in a person's brain at one time. When talking about a world-changing interface, the Neuralink team told Urban that they were thinking something like 1 million simultaneously recorded neurons. Not only would they need to find a way to ensure that the brain could effectively communicate with that many electrodes, but they also need to overcome the very practical problem of where to physically put them. The engineering is only half the battle, though. Like Musk mentioned, regulatory approval will be a significant factor in developing and adopting Neuralink's tech. The company also faces potential skepticism and even fear from a public that doesn't want anyone cutting into their brains to install some high-tech machinery. According to a recent Pew study, the public is even more worried about brain-computer interfaces than gene editing. There's also the not entirely unfounded fear that these computers could be hacked. Add to all that our still very incomplete understanding of how the brain ticks exactly, and you can see that the Neuralink team has its work cut out for them. But Neuralink isn't the only company working on the BCI. Thankfully, they won't be working to remake our minds alone. Many other universities and research institutes are pushing brain interface technology forward. Facebook's Building 8 is working on its own BCI. MIT is creating super-thin wires for use in brain implants, and other cyborg devices are already in the works to help the paralyzed walk again, and the blind to regain their sight. Each new development will push the field forward, and the team at Neuralink will be able to learn from the mistakes and successes of others in the field. In very much the same way that other electric cars were on the road well before Tesla came along, brain-computer interfaces are not new. The tech might just need a visionary like Musk, though, to elevate it, and us, to the next level.